Greetings, and welcome to Human Life 101, where we examine the remaining artifacts of a once proud culture and try to determine what human lives were like before the planet was destroyed. My name is Enter Clarkin, Spock, and Yoda, who was Transformers Invader Us. But you may call me E.T. Now, in this lecture, we'll be examining the education system of Earth. And going through our first artifact is going to be about compilement of images in a script that we found in what the humans call an 8 GB flash drive made by a student, Liam Riley. We don't know if this is actually a picture of Liam Riley, but it had the same first name, so I'm pretty sure it is. Liam Riley was a student in the human settlement of Honolulu, just right there. Now, he was also a student in what the American school system calls the American high school experience, where students are basically assigned with massive amounts of homework in order to determine their worth as human beings. Here's the artifact itself. It's called a presentation of learning. It's what students do at the end of each semester, or half an Earth year, or quarter of an Earth year, actually, to determine, to basically just reflect on what they learned over the first semester. Now, this says the story of the first semester in NPX through the eyes of a regular student. Now, NPX is something that has only been seen in this artifact. So he must have been some kind of special person, because NPX, we don't even know what that means, but it must have been something very, very special. Liam Riley first opens up with a quote. It says, "Some people think that if their opponent plays a beautiful game, it's okay to lose. I don't. You have to be merciless." Once we looked through the script of the flash drive, Liam Riley was intending for this to be kind of like a metaphor or a message saying that whenever you fail, first of all, it's never okay to really fail, because winning is always better than losing. But you always have to be merciless about yourself when it comes to failure. You always have to learn from your mistakes and not make excuses. And that's what Liam Riley has intended with this quote. Liam Riley has faced 5 challenges during his first half year of NPX, which are drawing boards, procrastination, writer's block, handling the power, and annoying people. Now, these are regular problems that high school teenagers face and they have to basically fight these problems in order to survive in the world. Just like how Darwin said in Earthling, survival of the fittest. These are the skills that Liam Riley has learned, which are infographics, not procrastinating, figurative writing skills, using power tools, and planning the structure of sorts, and also teamwork. The first thing that we actually, that Liam had to make was an infographic. Now, humans have used images in order to communicate with each other for thousands of years. And infographics are kind of like a higher tech image of that. In fact, I actually have the infographic right. What the heck is it?
Should leave it in the podium? It's in the podium.
Well,
It's in the podium. Look inside the podium.
Right here. And we're very surprised that this actually survived the apocalypse of Earth, because usually paper actually burns in the atmosphere, so this is actually pretty surprising. But as you can see here, Liam Riley has listed the chronological events of a very mediocre Earth novel called Fahrenheit 451. And the flames show the intensity of the events. What Liam Riley learned from this experience is very simple: how to create infographics. Because Liam Riley has actually never really learned how to make infographics in the beginning of this year. However, after a while, he kind of began to master it. And this is probably what he considers his best infographic that he ever made. and it really, really clearly shows the message of his ideas. He's very, very proud of that. The second thing he has also learned is procrastination, or anti-procrastination techniques. And this was learned through the video game called The Odyssey. Liam Riley made a video game using Java code, a very sort of mediocre, inferior type of code, which he used in order to create this video game, which took around 1,000 lines of script, of lines of code. Now, unlike us, who could probably write 1,000 lines of code in 1 nanosecond, humans probably take around days or even weeks. Now, Liam Riley knew this. However, he decided to wait until like 14 hours until it was due. And remember, that may sound like a long time, but remember, humans have to sleep. And Liam Riley knew this, of course, and he basically just pooped something out at the very end. Humans have this habit called procrastination, which is basically, I'll just wait until the very end, and then at the very end of that end, he's like, oh shoot, I have to make something. And he basically poops it out and then gives it to a teacher. Now, Liam Riley knew that the teacher will be impressed with anything that says the word video game on it, so he just turned it in and he got an A. However, he learned a lot from this video game. He learned, first of all, to manage his time well, because after reflection from this video game, he decided that it was so horrible, so bad, that Shigeru Miyamoto would continuously bang his head against the wall so much because of his horribleness that he forgot that he ever made Super Mario Bros. Now, this is basically what he learned. Basically just not procrastinating, not waiting till the last minute, and simply just simply just taking his time on the project, breaking it apart piece by piece, and just working on it day by day, instead of working it all in the last minute for 4 hours. The third thing Liam has learned is figurative writing skills. Now, humans have this very, very weird niche that it's beautiful and artistic to basically use unnecessary words in order to determine a scene or a setting. For example, instead of saying a cold, bright computer room, he instead uses lots and lots of words in order to determine the scene. For example, as you can see here, I know you can't really see that well, but it says here, the cold air conditioning blowing into my face, the smell of disinfectant wipes, the flashing of 1,000 computers around me. He basically just quadrupled the amount of words used in the basic detail of the scene. And this is what Liam Riley has learned from this project. Learning how to use figurative writing in order to detailedly explain a scene. Now, the next thing Liam has learned was using power tools. Power tools are sort of like an inferior laser cutter thingamajig that human aliens use. But instead of what we use as like laser pointers in order to make holes, they instead use metal parts like screws and bolts. Now, Liam also never knew how to use these power tools. So he had to learn from his science teacher, and he eventually figured out how to use it by building a table and a hydroponic system. He also had to make scale models, because without scale models, he really cannot, let's say, plan out or even make the structure that he's trying to make. Because without a scale model, things could fall apart, things could fail. So Liam Riley had to learn the responsibility of making these hydroponic systems and using power tools in order to construct them. Because power tools are very dangerous, of course. Many people have died from them. And Liam Riley had to use responsibility and learn responsibility to a much greater extent in order to make the structure. Now, the last thing Liam Riley had to deal with was annoying people. Now, annoying people are everywhere. Everybody has met the very annoying Vulcan once in a while. And Liam had to deal with these annoying people in his group. Now, he had to, what he first did was actually just yell at the annoying people and telling them the error of their ways. Surprisingly, that did not work. So Liam had to take a different approach. He instead tried to reflect on himself. He asked himself, what am I doing wrong here? And he figured it out. The answer was pride. he had lots of pride. Liam Riley had lots of pride back then. And whenever he was wrong about something or whenever he messed up, he would just blame it on others or just get easily angry. Now, Liam learned out of this self-reflection that it's not if you make a mistake what people judge you by. It's how you handle mistakes. So if you just be easily angry and blame over people, people are gonna respect you a lot less. But if you gain some humility, and this is what Liam learned here, if he gained humility, he would people would respect him because he would just say, okay, I'm wrong, I'm sorry, and he would just gain respect from his fellow teammates. And although that doesn't really solve the problem of annoying people, it still very much helps to the overall contribution to the group. There's actually a few images of our hydroponic systems, of Liam's hydroponic systems. And it's a time lapse of teamwork. And as you can see, humans have this idea that if you work together as a team, you could accomplish great things. And this is a very good example of it. There's also other good examples too, as you see in this upper time lapse. And now Liam defeated a lot of villains. He defeated how to create infographics, how to learn to create infographics. He defeated procrastination. He also defeated how to detailedly describe a scene. And he also defeated how to use power tools. However, he can't defeat annoying people. Everything else he could basically defeat by using self-improvement and self-reflection. However, with annoying people, you can't really improve other people, basically. You could try as much as you can, but no matter what, there's always something that you're not going to like about them. So you basically just have to deal with them. So annoying people is kind of like a villain that will never go away or die. Something that Liam had to deal with. It's something that Liam dealt with pretty okay, actually. It's still work in progress, but he's pushing the villain closer and closer to the cliff. Now, all of these are very, very great messages, but probably the most important message that Liam actually learned was actually from this presentation of learning. He learned the power of self-reflection. And although in this chaotic world where millions of things are happening, we could always reflect on ourselves and try to improve on ourselves. Well, the humans don't, because the humans can't because they're extinct, but we do. Thank you for listening to this lecture. Any questions?
That was great. What was the most difficult part of this POL process for you?
Memorizing the script. Because there were a lot of very, very odd words that I had. Well, I'll stop alien right now. There are lots of well, first of all, is that I basically I should have practiced the script more often because I kind of was pretty nervous actually in the presentation. And I think if I actually practiced a little bit more, I would have gotten it down because I sort of kind of like broke character a few times, and it is kind of just what kind of just made it really mediocre. But that was probably just the hardest part of it, and that was probably something I should have done. I should have practiced more, and I should have just tried to just go over it a few more times before I presented.
That was great.